and we are live in Sunflower Studios. Welcome humans, welcome goblins. We've got a fantastic lineup for today. We'll just give it a few seconds to see a few people coming into the chat. Just give us a little hello or thumbs up if the audio is working, just so we can continue and get down to business. In the meantime, Harnoor, Romy, how are you guys?
Doing great. You
Yeah.
guys can notice that Harnoor has a new haircut. It looks awesome. I'm with my classic hat. Everything is good.
Yeah, the week was fantastic, as Romy correctly pointed. I had a fantastic week because I had a fantastic haircut.
That's good.
All right. We're lonely today. Where are the people? We need
I
some.
just posted, so they'll join it. They'll join
Perfect.
us now. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, Hanor, was it a coincidence after your first stream that you then went and got a haircut in preparation for your second stream?
Yeah, I said that if I am going to be on Twitch every Friday, I need to groom myself properly.
That's it.
It's a good idea. When my hair gets too long, I just chuck the hat on. Not sure if that's Romy's style right now as well, or
Now, my hair is always messy. Look, it's always like that. I can't fix it, so I'll just hide it. That's it.
all
Romy,
right.
your hat is so cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need that official merch. All right, we've got the first few people coming into the chat. We've got a first time chatter, Dragon Fiber. Hello, welcome to Sunflower Studios, Collab Minions. Great to have you. Feels like you're part of the furniture. You're in the code base, you're in Discord, you're across all the Twitches. Hello, everyone. We're going to start off today with the weekly wrap up, and as always, just a quick few disclaimers. Although we are building a crypto game and we have NFTs, nothing that we say during these presentations is financial advice. Cryptocurrency is always risky, always do your research. Just because we do display a feature that's in development doesn't guarantee it's going to make it into the game. So please don't make any long term bets. Today we're going to show some chickens. Don't go and invest in a million chickens because these things are likely to change. That said, guys, say hello. How you going? What's happening?
Go ahead, Harnoor. How are you going?
I'm going great. So I was just noticing all these chats that we are getting. Yeah, there are a lot of people who are joining our chat. Hey everyone, it's really nice. It's really nice to see all of you joining for our weekly wrap up. Um, so yeah, this week has been really productive. We have smashed out a lot of new features. The team communication was really great. I guess we'll be covering some of the features in a short while. Yeah, the morale was so high during the entire week, and correctly pointed, now it is more high after my haircut. Uh, and there might be some other things coming on in the future Twitch stream. So yeah, I might have some more updates on how I look. So yeah, keep tuned.
I don't know if it was
Yeah,
a coincidence or not. Hanor got a haircut and the price of SFL went up. So just keep doing what you're doing, mate.
it was just after he showed up first time on the wrap up, mate. People know him.
Yeah.
So yeah, the week for me was great. We've been working on, as per the last couple of months, working on an expansion. So it's so awesome to see all these new features and the feedback from the community and everything we're doing together. It's really good. So feeling good.
Nice. There's a lot of love coming in the chat here. There's a comment from D Cole saying shave your beards and SFL hits $100. Looks like you're getting a bit of love from Brazil, Romy.
Uh, classic.
Alguma pessoa disse, manda beijo.
Beijo para quem pediu.
What does it
You can see that Adam speaks Portuguese, yeah? No
Oh,
one no most of the people don't even know.
It's my little it's my hidden
It's
talent that I
it's
go
a
through the
hidden
Portuguese
talent.
chat and I get feedback and people say whatever they want about me but don't realize I understand. Mr. Gran as well. Love it. All right. So today we're going to be covering three things where we're going to go over some of the things that we built this week. We leaked some of the maps. If you're in Discord, you saw some new islands that were appearing. We're going to briefly discuss those. Next, we're going to go over almost our short-term roadmap. We're really close to launch right now. That we're at the point where it's just a bunch of very small ticket items and we're just swarming on those and getting through those super quickly. And so want to dive into that. And lastly, we do want to address the elephant in the room, which was yesterday's green amulet drop. It was a super rare item. There weren't many of them, and unfortunately, this meant that players missed out. And so, for the past week or so, there's actually been some really good GitHub discussions from the community about how we can release items better and some new mechanisms to do that. And we're going to touch on that a little bit. It is something that we want to nail by the time land expansion goes live. Because although we've got, say, 20, 30,000 people who are trying to get these war items, you can just imagine if once we get 1 million people trying to get a limited amount of items, it's going to be chaotic. So we're going to finish and touch on that area. And hopefully if you're watching and you have some ideas, please shout out or jump onto that GitHub discussion. First up, Harnoor, what were you working on this week? Do you want to give us a little bit of an insight to the code you're pushing and the way you're changing Sunflower Land?
Yeah, definitely. So this week I was working on a new feature uh, where we the farmers would need a water well in order to sustain more and more crops on the land. So uh, like after every 10 crops, the farmers will need to build a well, and the well will be level guided. And if they build a well, they'll be able to serve 10 more crops. So that was one of the major features that I was working this week. And as you can see on the screen, this is the model that would appear if you click on a plot that is not fertile, or that would require a plot that would require a well. So yeah, where you can find the well. So if you go to the buildings and if you click on that little hammer icon, you will find that the water well is listed over there, and that is like guided. So as you increase in your level, then you will be able to build more and more wells.
I think a good part on this one is, so it's almost like we don't have a water well in the current game. Why do we have a water well now? The reason is because in land expansion you can get these ginormous empires of land. And so we didn't want the game just to turn into this super repetitive behavior. You expand land, you get crops, expand land, get crops. We wanted to add some more gameplay loops into that. And so the water well is something that if you do want to keep expanding your land and getting crops, you also need to be getting wood and stone and constructing these wells so you can actually support your crops. So you can think of this new design in Sunflower, and it's more of a circular economy where you can't just go wild on crops and forget about your wood and your stone gathering. You really got to think about all these different resources and how it comes into play. There's a good point there as well. So there's going to be some buildings you can just build them once, and there's going to be other ones where every X amount of levels, you can build another one. A good example is this water well. I think right now it's around level 2, level 5, level 10, something like that, that these new water wells start coming into play. Another one is going to be chickens. So in the current game, there's a maximum amount of 10 chickens. You can get some bonus capacity if you have a chicken coop. In the new version, you can just keep building these chicken houses when you want to support chickens. So once you get to, I think it's level 7, you can build your first chicken house, and then a few levels later you can build another chicken house, and then after that you can build another one as well. So those people that really want to amplify their chickens, you can go crazy now. I'll jump in here. So this is kind of what I was playing around this week. Spencer gave me some help on the UI as well. The idea is that you come to so you build your chicken house. It'll be level 7. It's just level 1 for testing here. You come into your chicken house. You can place chickens that are currently in your inventory. So if you're coming from the current version of the game and you have chickens, you got to put these lazy chickens to work. And so once there, you can start putting more and more chickens on your land. The best part is that you can actually put them where you want them to go now. And so I was experimenting before with one of my mysterious heads. I don't think it's a secret that I love this decoration. And so if you want to have your chickens as these loyal devotees to your mysterious head, you can do that. Land expansion is all about customization and giving the player the ability to do what they want to do. And so it's been pretty fun just playing around with these chickens this week and seeing how it works on your new farm. I'm excited, and I know there's some diehard chicken fans in Discord as well, so I'm very keen to see what their farms look like. It might be just chickens dominating everything on that farm. So that's super exciting. I just wanted to sort of share this vision of how this customization and chickens is going to work once you do move over to land expansion.
There's a couple questions here that I can ask and you can answer. First from Ant, he said, you can't go wild on crops, but can you go wild on resources? But I'll just give my opinion on this. The resources are scarcer than the crops. For example, you can see that you have 3 trees there, but you have how many plots you have. So that's why we sort of requiring, let's say, the water well. So you need some more. So instead of just planting and harvesting, you need to work your way onto just harvesting, going wild on crops, for example. So you don't have as many options for resources as you have for plots. And another question, a good question here is, people are asking if you can edit the placement of the plots, like if you can move the 3 plots closer to the other one with 5 and so on.
The answer is not yet. So we're going to launch without that feature, and that is something we do plan to add at a later date. I think Harnoor, we were even saying this the other day, that you might want like a section for your potatoes and then a section for your sunflowers. Yeah, we've experimented with some lands when you do get to like 10 or 11 expansions. Everything is a little bit spread out. It still works and looks nice, but it would be more convenient if you could just have all your crops in a section, especially on mobile, because you can just quickly tap through and harvest all those plants.
There's another good question here that I haven't think about yet. So will seeds per sink? So will the stock go up as you expand your land?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably
That's
will,
a good point.
because it'll get quite hard to do like a full round of wheat, for instance, if you have 20 land expansions. It's also going to get harder and harder to expand. Like a typical game, the more levels you want to advance, it becomes tougher and tougher. So we got a little bit of time to actually come up with a good solution to that.
Yeah, nice one.
Romy, mate, how was your week? What did you get to focus on?
It's been pretty good. So the for players UI, like that things that I can see, we're changing the designs of the iron, gold, and the stone itself. So you can see the little stone there. Now all the mining resources will look something like that, smaller. The reason behind that is we don't want to take space from your land, so you can use more of your land. So before we had this rock that took 2 squares from your land, and now we you have more like one extra space. Yeah, that's the gold one. So before you used to take up two of those squares, and now we're just reducing the size of them. The drop will be the same amount. It's just the UI for these rocks that is changing. So another thing is we showed before that we had the pebble and the shrub. We won't have them on launch. I don't. We don't. We discussed this and we don't think it's necessary for the moment. So pretty much would be like just as you all are used to, just the rock, iron, and gold. So I think for players that they can see that's all. We've done a we always doing like back end work and stuff, but they can't see that. So yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of behind the scenes work from Romy, the heavy lifting. There's a good question that came in, more of a statement saying, please do not make this game like a mobile game where I cannot even wait to grow crops or gather resources without having to wait because my bumpkin ran out of energy. There needs to be a way to play throughout the day without paying extra to just wait more time. So with stamina, you can replenish your stamina if you cook food and feed that to your bumpkin. That is also what gets your bumpkin experience. And so, yes, your stamina will deplete, but you got to make sure that you've got some food ready to feed them. It's quite similar to Stardew Valley if you've played that. Like you do run out of energy and you need to rest, but if you've got some food in your backpack, if you've prepared some meals for the day, then there's nothing to really stop you to going crazy collecting crops.
Just a detail here. You won't need to pay like money for the food. It's just a game feature. You can cook food using the resources you have, and then you can eat the food to replenish your stamina and keep playing. So you don't have to pay anything to keep playing, basically.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not like give us $5 to speed up your stamina, which is a lot of games. There will be in it when we look at these boosts, it's like no, you just got to play the game, collect the resources, and feed them. Um, I think we were chatting about this the other day, Romy, as well. Wood boosts. So in typical games where you spend like 5 Smurf berries or like real dollars to speed up construction, we are throwing around the idea that you can actually burn more wood if you want to speed up construction or if you want to make a meal cook quicker. So it's definitely our approach when we do have these ways that you can speed up, get more energy, do more things. It's not like pay to play. It's just you got to play, earn your resources, and then you can do these utility in this boost.
Yeah, exactly. If you have food, you can just plan out and keep always cooking something. So you can like stock up your food and then you can just keep eating and replenishing the stamina and keep playing. Exactly.
Yep. Couple good questions here is how long roughly until the first wave of land expansion early access? We're going to touch on that in just a second. We've got a top secret file to share with everyone. There's also, are you going to show the top 100 experience so far? Yes. So I'd say about 2 weeks out from launching that beta land expansion, we'll give a quick guide and say this is the experience the 100th person has, 200th person has, 500th person has. just to give everyone sort of a heads up of what experience you need to be if you want to get that very early access.
Thanks, Pedro, for the subscribe. Thank you.
Oh, nice, mate. All right. For those in Discord, you may have seen a few sneak peeks of some of the surrounding islands. And so what we're going to do, we're actually going to dive into these now. The first one we're going to go to is called Helios. And before we go there, I guess you're getting very early access view to this. Even in the game, players won't be able to access these islands straight away. You will need to feed your bumpkin and level them up before you can access certain content in Sunflower Land. And so Helios is going to be the first island that you actually get to discover. And this is partially what we're starting to turn our focus on as like land expansion is nearing completion. Helios is going to be an island where there's a bunch of new content, a bunch of new fields, and some exciting things. When you look at the old game, there is a few buildings that obviously don't live on land expansion anymore. There are a few NPCs and characters that don't live there as well. So we've moved a couple of them over to here. The first one is the cake store. And so this cake store is where you're going to be able to sell your food to hungry goblins. The current game just supports selling cakes, but we're actually going to open it up to all types of consumables. So you can either feed them to your bumpkin and get a bunch of experience, or you can come to this island, check out what meals are in demand, what are the goblins hungry for, and you can sell them there. We're going to have the traveling salesman. They will appear back on this island. This is where they'll live. We've got a potions store. So for those of you right now that have the rapid growth potion, you're probably wondering, where does this come from? Right now it's just airdrops. This is where you're actually going to become, and you can create potions in game. The first one is obviously rapid growth, which speeds up the growth of your crops, but there's going to be more and more potions as we progress. We've got a decorations store. So we're going to have a set number of decorations that you can burn SFL and place these to make your land look beautiful. There'll be some weekly items. There'll also just be some general sale items that you can spruce up your farm. This one here is a new building. So this is an exotic crop shop that we're going to have. And so there will be, I guess, seasonal seeds that appear in here, and seasonal crops that you can purchase. You're also going to be able to purchase magic bean boxes here. And so we might leave it up for the community to figure out what a magic bean box will do. But it does have something to do with mutant crops. So I'll leave it there. This might be something you have to wait for the game to go live, so you can come here, buy one of those bean boxes and see how you go. We've got our blacksmith from the old game. This one no longer does tools per se. The tools you need to craft a workbench on your island to be able to make, but there will be more limited edition items that you can get here. Not like the rare drops, but monthly events, cool things that can help you farm. And then we've got some room up here for some upcoming quests and a bit of lore from around the game as well. What are your thoughts, Harnoor? Romy, what are you thinking for this map, Helios?
I really love this, and the name as well. It's really nice. People can maybe research. We don't need to say anything, but I really love the the possibilities we have with these, and adding new buildings and new features for the players. The potions there, it's really nice. I'll definitely be going there and checking out once it's launched. I like the new seeds where you can buy new seeds, new mutant the beans and all that stuff. Um, yeah, it's great. It's looking really nice.
Yeah, like even I love this design, to be honest. It's quite clean, clear, and simple. The most thing that I really love in this is the cake shop that I'm definitely going to visit once the game goes live. And what goblins are hungry for. And in addition to that, we have, as Romy correctly said, we have a lot of possibilities or adventures to explore in this area, and which is a common area where everyone can come and buy seeds or sell some cakes or something like that. And I have been looking at the chart. Was a discussion of observatory. If you scroll up, Adam, I guess, is there an observatory somewhere?
There is
Okay.
the Million on Mars thing. Yeah.
So that's a NFT that players currently have. Um, you'll actually place that on your own farm, the observatory. So that'll be something that you'll be able to put on your own land. Yeah,
So we also have the top part of the island there. You gonna talk about that?
maybe, maybe not. For those people who are in a bit of mythology, you may understand why there is a sunflower here. Um, can who can harvest? How can you harvest this sunflower? That's the question you're going to have to play. But only the true savior can return and harvest this sunflower. So I think we got to leave it as
Just live it.
that. We've got like a basic storyline and quest that is planned out. It's been planned out for a while. Um, Everything's kind of related to the war. Everything's coming full circle. You're gonna have to play the game and find out. Next up, we have got the Goblin Retreat. So the Goblin
Oh,
Retreat right now, it's
my
quite similar.
favorite, mate.
What's that?
My favorite.
So,
um, it's quite similar to Goblin Land is right now, but this is a breakout group of goblins. I can't reveal too much until the end of the war. But all you got to know is that there's going to be a new location where you can find the goblins working hard. You can find all those much beloved buildings, your bank, the trading, the wishing well, the storage, um, crafting. The tailor is getting repurposed. So this is going to be where you can get bumpkin clothing. And so flags will no longer exist in here. They may come back in a later island in the game, but when we launch, you won't be able to get flags again. Just a heads up if you were planning to get a flag anytime soon. Um, we've now got a resale section here. So if you did miss out on an item, say it may have been 6 months before you joined the game, you can now come in here and view these items specifically. We've got this auction area here, and so we're no longer going to do the drops previously how they worked through there was like the different sections that you could get them. We're going to have this new auction area that will. There's a few things we want to do. We want to give players better notice and heads up of what the upcoming items are, exactly when it's going to drop, what the requirements are. And so this auction area will definitely give some information about this upcoming item a week, at least a week in advance, like when this is going to drop, what the following ones are, the weeks after. And we're also going to explore, I guess, fairer minting drops just to make sure few things that less people face bugs when minting, and it's a lot more seamless for everyone. We are
Yeah,
going to touch on that at the end as well.
yeah. I was just going to say this links up with our next topic as well. That is the mint and what we learned from the last mint.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So this is Goblin Retreat. There's a few extra islands, a little bit of lore that you'll be able to explore and try piece together the puzzle of Sunflower Land and what is happening as well. The next one, actually no, we probably shouldn't show this yet.
Don't,
No,
don't.
I think it was Twitch is too laggy. They wouldn't have seen that one. Let's jump into this file here. So this, we won't go into all of this. Is kind of the top secret game design, where we do a lot of balancing, economy, progression sort of work. One of these tabs right now we have is planned work. And so we usually use GitHub projects for project management, but we're at this stage that we're so close to land expansion in our launch that there's just a bunch of very small tickets. And so the way we're working right now is that we're working off an old school spreadsheet style and just picking up items and crossing them off as we go. This is exciting though. So there was a question before of when's early access for land expansion going to start? And it is pretty much at this section here. So beta launch 25, total days was 27.5. That was at the beginning of the week. So the answer is pretty much once we go through and tick off these items, once we get down to this one and finish that one, we're going to open up early access for land expansion. We'll share these each week and keep you updated. The green ones and the yellow ones are the ones that we've done this week. Actually, I've just started work on the Goblin Hungry store. But this will give you an idea of what we're currently focusing on to get that early access going. And so we've got a tent coming. We've got to build out the kitchen and bakery buildings. We need to add island travel. So how do you actually travel between the islands? We need to go through and make sure that all of the rare items that you've collected up until this point are compatible and they look nice when placed on your land. That's a very finicky thing where you got to make sure everything's pixel perfect, shadows look good and whatnot. Bumpkin website. So Spencer is actually building out a better drop system right now for the Bumpkin website, making sure that is ready for launch so people can equip their bumpkins and start with their bumpkin NFT. Exotic seeds shop, mutant crops. I guess I kind of leaked what the magic beans are going to do in this case. Migration event. So once you move from the old game to the current game, you're going to be obviously compensated for any items that no longer work in land expansion, like the pumpkin soup, which you used to use to unlock fields. You'll get bonus SFL, be able to trade that back in. And then, so we want to launch that ASAP and get the top warriors playing that and giving us some feedback about how it's all going to work. And then following that, we're going to slowly add more and more members of the community to start playing the game while we are building out these features. And so there is a lot of items in here. Some of the, I guess with these items, once we get these done, we want to go full scale on our official launch and really start pushing marketing, onboarding, all of these things. Make sure the game is balanced, and then let's sort of open up the floodgates and get everyone involved. Romy, Harnoor, what are you guys most excited to build instead of to play? What are you looking forward to build out of these items?
To build, I think for me is how you're gonna get moving through islands. Like how you're gonna move to a different island and like all these like the UI and then the experience on that. I think that would be really fun to do it. Yeah.
That is what I was going to say, Romy.
See, so it's really fun then.
Yeah,
We can work together. We can pair on that one.
yeah. I guess when we were discussing this sheet, this thing came up about the island travel, and yeah, that sounds really exciting to work on for sure. Uh, which is why I wanted to say before you were going to say.
We work on this together, man.
Yeah.
We won't miss out.
All right. I think everyone knows what you guys are going to work on
Yeah.
next.
What about you, Adam? What are you most excited to work on?
I'm super excited about the Hungry Goblin store.
Yeah.
I want to feed those goblins, and I want to make that fun. I think it adds a bit more variety to your weekly gameplay. We saw it with cakes that it was really exciting when you didn't know what the next cake was going to be and what resources you needed to collect. And so it's going to be very similar with these goblin challenges. When the goblin grub shop opens, you don't know what items are going to be in high demand, and so um, each week you're going to have a different experience. Like you might have been focusing hard on egg farming, collecting beetroots one week, and then the next week it's like the goblins just want wheat. Like they've got a sweet tooth for cakes, and so it's just cakes. And I think that's going to add some really good variety for players coming in the game. That it's just not this same. You got to do the same goals each week and expand your land. And so I'm excited to see that come to fruition.
Nice. Also, I'm really excited to start writing new music for the updates. New music, new sound effects. Definitely looking forward to that.
Mate, I think everyone's pretty excited for the new soundtrack.
Yeah.
We might have to wrap the old soundtracks up in an NFT and do that as a drop soon, mate. There's a few questions still around the experience and showing the experience leaderboards. A couple weeks before we do start early access, we're going to reveal what these numbers are and give people a heads up around that. We're not going to build a real-time experience. It will take a little bit of time to do that. We're all hands on deck right now, building out these game features. Awesome, exciting. One of these, I guess a couple of these items is around the Goblin Auctioneer and the rare weekly items. And I think that's a good segue into this next topic. So yesterday, the green amulet went live. There was roughly, I think it was 2,000 players that had the other amulets, which were required to mint the green amulet. So there's 2,000 people that were essentially trying to get this green amulet, and there was roughly only 350 available. As you can probably predict, it was chaotic watching this in Discord. It was the quickest ever mint out that happened. As soon as it was deployed onto the blockchain, before I could even change tabs to try get it myself, it was sold out. It was that insane. And it obviously raised some concerns that it's almost exclusive for some players. People felt that they had been hard done by, that they'd worked hard to get war bonds and missed out on an item that they wanted to. All up there was some really good ideas of how we can improve this system, how we can make it fair. I can guarantee, at least we've done bot detection on everything. There was definitely no bots. All of the farms that got them are legitimate players. It came down to, at the time, whoever set the right gas fee and also a MetaMask or phone caching issue. So when you did open up that window to try and mint the item, depending on your MetaMask RPC node, all these things, you may have got the response 5 seconds later than another player who could click that button a few seconds before you. And unfortunately, once they clicked that button before you and they got their block mined, it meant that by the time you tried to mint the item, that it had already been sold out. And so obviously we don't want to create this sense of exclusivity and like everyone's going to miss out on these items, because it's not a good feeling if you are waiting up until a certain time trying to get something and you miss out. Recently happened to me with Rugby World Cup tickets. I've stayed up. It was three times I woke up at 4 a.m. and missed out on the World Cup tickets, and it sucks. It's not a great feeling, and so right now we are looking at a few different approaches of how we can make this a smoother experience. Not Keen has opened up this GitHub discussion. We're not going to go through the entirety of it. I guess the output is that there's a few different approaches that we can have when it comes to releasing items. I think the one that's most talked about in here is doing a pre-mint or challenge-based access to these items. So only players that have a certain achievement or are a certain level can get early access. And then after those requirements, a general sale does go public. There's the Dutch auction approach where it starts extremely high and then gets lower and then gets lower. There is a lottery approach, and that is where you need to whitelist yourself. So say a day in advance, register that you want to get this item, then it'll be just random whether you get a lottery ticket and you can try get the item. This one here, there's early mints, blueprints. So this is the idea that through playing the game, you can stumble across a blueprint or an early mint, and that will give you access before everybody else. There's some ideas that we don't do drops, and all of these items are just scattered out amongst all players through random in-game events. So if you chop a tree, you might find one of these rare items. If you harvest a sunflower, you might find one of these rare items. I think it's before I dive into like Romy, I know you've got a few thoughts. You've been following this pretty closely. What were your thoughts on the yesterday's situation?
Yeah, I can see a lot of people mentioning they got errors, like something went wrong, or even the MetaMask error where the gas fee is so high. So this happens because the supply was gone already. So you were a couple of seconds late. So this happened to me as well on the Warrior shirt, for example. I got my transaction in with normal gas, but then it came back as an error because the limit, like the max supply was already reached. So even with us, it happens as well. So I agree, it's not a nice experience for the players. So I even mentioned to the team yesterday, we should improve on the experience when you own the Goblin land, for example, and you don't need to refresh it anymore for the button to show up. So it would be nice to have some sort of, I don't know, countdown or something that just straight away pops up and then you can click the button. So I believe a lot of people got a bit frustrated on needing to refresh or come, go to the farm and come back and refresh load again the page. So I think this will improve a lot the experience when you're trying to mint. And also there's a lot of behind the scenes what we can do that, like for players, they won't see it, but like on the back end or even the contracts, we can sort of tweak a little bit. So it's, for example, we should try to don't pass it through the transaction if
Mm-hmm.
the supply is already reached. So because I saw a lot of people spent gas and got an error back. That's a bad experience, really.
Yeah. It's not exclusive just to us. There's, I guess, every NFT project that does a drop, if you've been part of them and they sell out in like 20 seconds, you probably hear like on Ethereum, it's a really big issue because you lose like hundreds of dollars in gas fees when you miss out on there. But there's still players that you can, even if it's $1, like that's too much to spend to not get anything in return. And so we're definitely going to address a bunch of those issues. We want to get it to the point that an error pops up, or at least it says, look, total supply exhausted before you even get into that error state. Spencer's actually playing around that right now with the bump can drop. I think one of the really good ideas around here is that's being thrown around is doing a time-based unlimited drop. And so instead of saying there's going to be 500, we say, look, there's going to be 1 day. Whatever get minted in that time is what is going to be set in stone. The big challenge here is that we can really harm the game's economy if 10,000 Foreman Beavers got minted, for instance. There would be too much wood in circulation and it would destroy the game. And so with land expansion, the way we're kind of framing it right now is that we'll have items that will be time-based unlimited. These won't be the super rare items though. Like they'll be basic scarecrows, basic decorations and whatnot. So normal players can come in and they can get these rare items that are only available for a limited amount of time.
Yeah, we've tried this approach on the traveling salesman, that an item was available for a limited period of time, and it worked really well. But it can't be like a Foreman Beaver, as you said. It needs to be something that it doesn't affect a lot the gameplay and the other players as well.
Yeah. It's like we got to think, once we got millions of people, if 100,000 people had this item, would the game continue as normal or would it be like too OP? And so we'll have those items that everyone can strive to, and so everyone can get the chance at getting these cool items, but we still will need some cool rare items because we have a bunch of different players. We have people who like grinding the game. We do have people that are big collectors, almost like whales that want to come in and get these items, and they're necessary for the sunflower ecosystem. You want to have both the player personas and you also want to have the people that really want these rare items, that they do want to invest capital or improve and sustain the sunflower land economy. And so with the auctioneer system, we'll have some unlimited drops. We'll also have some rare item drops as well. The way that they're looking to be, they're probably going to be priced higher than they previously were. That's only for the super rare item ones when there's like 300, 500 of those. And so that will minimize the issue of 10,000 people trying to go for these same items. It will be targeted more at that collector personas. And then we've got the other items as well, which aren't as extremely rare, but still nice items and rare ones that you can get. There's a few comments here. So there's Varte, time is better than quantity. Whoever made the necessary items before will be ready at the moment. Like item X only be released for 1 day and needs previous items. Yeah.
It is a bit different. Like the approaches are different. Like having like a limited supply, like it's what does like triggers its viscosity really. Like it makes that item rarer than the other ones. So I think it's like it works both way works. I think just the experience on minting, it could be improved, but I think that's the idea of viscosity, is like having a limited amount of items, and that's how things are valued or in game or even in between the players.
Yeah, I think one of our focus was always when we did release previous items was that they were actually really cheap, all of these. And unfortunately this meant that a lot of players could afford them, and then it led to this situation where a lot of people missed out. But now in this future where we're going to have items where everyone can get, it does mean that for these super rare items, we can price them differently, and we'll try target a different group of people with those items. Previously, when there wasn't anything else to go for, we couldn't launch like a Kubeku for double the price because people will be like, well, what am I meant to do now? There's nothing for me to get. And so our focus is going to be on making sure that all players are catered for, whether you want to be an extreme rare collector or if you want to be getting these weekly time limited items. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're going through all these comments in the GitHub discussion. There's a lot, but there's some really good ideas. It's nice as well if you want to break from Discord, which sometimes gets a bit chaotic. Jump in here, and you'll actually see that the community has some really well thought out ideas. And I feel like you go to GitHub and it's like all the anger is taken out of sometimes posting GitHub, and it's like people do their research. So if you have any ideas, there's been some people doing good comments in Twitch. Please come over to the GitHub, github.com/sunflower-land, and the discussion has been pinned at the top, so everyone can come join in on this one. All right, guys, any closing comments before we do a bit of a giveaway?
Harnoor said something, right? You're too quiet.
Yeah, like I was looking at all these comments, really nice comments that I was able to see. Really nice suggestions. And yeah, as Adam said, that it would be really nice for these comments to be there on the GitHub discussion where we can actually track them, or so that they are not lost. Um, but yeah, I would highly suggest everyone to get on this discussion board. It's a really nice way to collaborate and come up with a better solution. Yeah, I would recommend you guys to check this out.
I just saw a quick question here. Someone asked if the bumpkins will be limited. No, they will not. So anyone can get their own bumpkin.
Yeah, there'll be, same with bumpkins. We want to have really accessible there'll be clothing drops where it's time based. We can get the overalls for a week. There'll be some rare item drops as well mixed in there, but we want to make sure that we're a project where everyone can get one of these NFTs and they can do some basic customizations and then start to collect some rare items if they want to as well. I guess it's like the game. We're not trying to make this like a 1,000 NFT project. If you don't have that, you're excluded from this community. All right. This week we are going to do a little quiz. I hope you've been paying attention to this stream. The way that this one is going to work is that the winner will get 150 SFL and 450 war bonds and 50 gold. So
Wow.
nice prize for the winner. And the way this is going to work is I'm going to ask a question about today's stream. The first person to answer this will get the airdrop. When you give your answer, make sure you include your farm ID. Okay? And so the question today is, I hope you're watching carefully when we went over Helios Island. What is the name of the sunflower at the top here? So
Ooh, that's a hard one, mate.
yeah, it's okay. We've actually had Jay Sneaks has come in here, Cliffy, and then D Cole has come in saying Clifty Arthur. So let's check this out. So it's actually without a H.
Oh, decal.
So Jay Sneaks, you are extremely close. That's tough to see, but I'm sure you've had a lot of chances. You're always on the streams. I'm sure you'll have another chance to win one of these drops. Congratulations, Decol. They're rapid. They're all over Discord, all over the GitHub. They're everywhere. So great to see you winning this prize. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I hope you're excited. We're super close to launching land expansion and super close to launching bumpkins. We're just super grateful to have you all on this journey with us.
Thank you all so much. we see you next week.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
All right. Enjoy your week. See you guys.
Yeah.